Different parts of the world have different requirements for fishing octopus or trapping octopus.
Do you want to do the interview?
No.
Are you sure? I'm playing.
Yeah.
Today, I'm going to discuss octopus. Octopus comes from all over the world. The United States, parts of Europe and the Mediterranean, parts in and around India, as well as Indonesia and even Australia all produce different varieties of octopus. Common octopus or rock octopus is the number one variety that's harvested. So how does octopus get caught? Well, it's trap caught. Traditionally, they would use clay pots and actually catch octopus one at a time. Some countries use more modern methods, but are still basically just using traps, which is really cool that when it comes to a fishing quota standpoint, octopus is usually on the sustainable end. The issues with octopus usually are more based on size. Different parts of the world have different size requirements for catching the species, so it does vary. The Mediterranean, for instance, will not allow your smaller octopus to come out of the water, or the Atlantic Ocean will. So even sometimes within the same peninsula like Spain and Portugal, there are different laws within the countries to sizing the octopus.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Stamenya. I'm here with Chef Davis Stanek at Taste Kitchen here at Samuel Seafood, and we are going to be preparing, it looks like octopus.
We're going to be cleaning and poaching an octopus here. We're going to tenderize it. So, the first thing we want to do is just check in the mantle here. We're going to turn that inside out.
We don't call it a head, we call it a mantle.
Well, these things really have no bones or anything, so their head is kind of in between the mantle and the tentacles.
Okay.
So we do call this the mantle. It's usually filled with a little bit of guts. This one's very clean, actually. So the only thing I'm going to do here is remove the brain stem, because that gets a little bit tough. And we're just going to cut that off the throat here. So now we have a completely clean mantle. We have no guts in there whatsoever. And we can poach this in a little bit of court bouillon.
And what's a court bouillon, Chef?
Court bouillon is also known as a quick bouillon. It's made with a little bit of lemon, onion, salt, sugar, parsley.
Okay.
I'm also going to add some acid to that. You can either add acid or white wine. I prefer to add acid, which is rice wine vinegar.
Okay.
Comes out a little bit better.
You can smell that. It's a really kind of nice, crisp vinegar smell.
Yeah, so I'm just going to cut down these vegetables and get them in the water.
Where do they usually harvest octopus, Chef?
Most of the octopus that we have come from the Mediterranean, or just outside the Mediterranean.
Just like
and they're
me.
generally, yeah, exactly. They're generally harvested around Spain and Portugal.
Okay.
They're the biggest producers of octopus that we receive.
Is that because they're better at fishing them, or do they have a better quality product out there?
I think they have a nicer quality product for one, and it's traditionally, it's the rice wine vinegar I'm putting in.
Okay.
It's a traditional product of that area. So I think it's just
Just know their business.
sugar
huh?
and salt, exactly.
Okay, cool.
So that's going to come up. Right now we have that almost to a simmer. Be a few more minutes. We're going to add in our octopus. And it's going to take about 60 minutes for this octopus to tenderize. You're also going to lose a good amount because the octopus is largely water.
Oh, okay.
So when it is simmered here for an hour, you generally get less than half out in weight.
Now, when we were talking to our expert a little while ago, they were telling us a little bit about the tenderizing of octopus, and there's like a bunch of different ways to do it.
There's lots of
I've heard
different
some
methods.
crazy ones. Any
Yeah.
weird ones you've come across all over the
Well,
years?
I've heard of some chefs, especially a while ago, not so much now,
Yeah.
taking them home and buying an old dryer and filling them up with ball bearings and throwing them in the dryer, which isn't exactly approved by the health
You
department.
always
So,
want to use the ball bearings,
yeah,
though, so I
exactly.
guess it's not wasteful,
No,
right?
it's not wasteful, but there are people actually have used to use that method.
Okay.
And now the producers have a similar method of a machine that's designed for that.
So we don't want to do that
that
in
would be
restaurants,
tumbled,
but in
yes.
your own home, it's
Exactly.
probably fine, right?
But if you look for an octopus that's already tumbled, they've already been through that method with the proper piece of equipment.
So watch your labels, ladies and gentlemen. Pre-tumbled.
So traditionally, octopus is one of the most difficult products to prepare, with all types of old methods of using wine corks or vinegar and all different types of strange methods into making octopus just perfectly tenderized. The Spanish had started tenderizing the octopus after they catch it and really reduced the cooking time from hours to minutes. The tenderization process is very, very interesting. Products are placed into a large, almost cement mixer piece of equipment, is the best way I can describe it, where it's tumbled in a saltwater solution that actually breaks the cell walls down in the animal and makes it a lot easier to then prepare and enjoy. So thank the Spanish for that and Christopher Columbus.
The very first thing I'm going to do is I got a nice pan hot with a little boiling. I'm going to touch more olive oil. And I'm going to toast my barley for a couple minutes. So I'm going to put barley in the pan. Barley goes really nicely with octopus. Any grain really goes nicely with octopus. And then you want to add in, by weight, 2.5 times what you put in there. 2 to 1, in my opinion, overcooks it. This is actually called the peel-off method.
Okay.
But we're going to take it an extra step. So using the peel-off method, we're going to take the grain, and we would saute this with maybe some, if we're making rice, some onions or something. Right now I'm just using the barley because I want to toast this really well. So we're going to get each individual grain coated with olive oil. And over a fairly high heat, I'm going to keep this stirring, and I want to get a nice toast on it. I want to get a nice nutty toast.
You need a little help with the stir?
Sure, yeah. If you want to give that a stir, go ahead. Be careful, it is
Watch
hot.
the handle, we all good, or is that
The handle's all right, and
You guys are good
nothing's hot
handles
yet
here.
except for the fact that the burner is hot. So you want to make sure that you have your liquid ready to go. I have 1.5 times the amount of liquid that I had solid.
It doesn't look like water, I hope, right? This is from
No,
Schuylkill.
this is a little bit of clam juice.
Okay.
That's been mixed with a little bit of water as well. Mix a little bit of water to knock down the salt tones to it,
Right.
so it's not quite as salty.
It is getting
Yeah. Feel free to
Will you take it off for a second like
you can
that?
move it back and
It's not
forth
gonna
on, but
ruin
it
your
does,
dish?
no, but it does need to stay pretty much on the burner. All right, that smell is about where I want it.
Okay.
I can see just about every kernel's got a nice brown to it. So I'm gonna add in my liquid. You see how hot that pan was?
There we go.
Get that full liquid in there. Turn the sediments out. And then we're gonna put a tight fitting lid on that. Just askew.
Can you keep it on high heat, Chef?
We're gonna keep it on high heat up to a boil, and then the second it achieves a boil, we're gonna lower it to a simmer.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it off to the side.
So why is octopus becoming so popular lately? You know, I can't necessarily say I know the answer for this for sure, but what I could say is in the past 15 years I've watched Spanish cuisine really catapult its way to the forefront of the food industry. Octopus is a major staple in Spanish cuisine. You also see the emergence of Japanese cuisine, where octopus is, again, a large part of what they do. So I think through the palate becoming a little more sophisticated here in the United States, octopus just naturally came along with it. It's a great product. It's very unique in its texture. It's very unique in its flavor profile. It's versatile in how it's prepared. If done right, octopus is probably one of the best seafoods you'll ever enjoy. If done wrong, you'll never have it again.
All right, so we got our barley on the boil, and now it's time to get everything else ready.
That's right.
What is everything else here?
Well, as you can see, we have our cooked octopus here.
It looks like it.
Nice and tender. Okay.
Cool.
One of the first things I want to do is make my vinaigrette.
Okay.
That we're going to use to both marinate the octopus and then finish it at the end. So I'm going to cut down my grapefruit and cut segments out of this. And while I'm doing that, if you could help me clean up some basil and thyme,
That I can do.
that would be really helpful. So this, we're going to end up with a piece of grapefruit that is 100% ready to go and clean. No skin, no pith, no seeds. So as you can see, I'm cutting around the skin here, right around the flesh of the fruit. Try not to leave too much stuff behind. Also getting the best yield I can out of this.
That sounds like it'd be
Octopus and
delicious.
citrus are like bread and butter, yep.
Yeah. Should be a little sweeter though, won't it?
Yeah, grapefruit would be a little bit sweeter. And you can see these segments cut out just nicely here.
Oh wow, it looks really pretty when you're doing
Yep.
it that way.
So now that my segment's clean, I'm going to drain off my liquid.
I love grapefruit.
Alright. So I'm going to add in a little bit of salt, pepper. I'll reach behind you for one moment down my fridge. I'll grab some Dijon mustard. And just a tablespoon of that as well.
What's that going to do for us? Is it going to change up the flavor a bit, or is it?
It is going to change up the flavor, but I'm mostly using it for emulsification. I do want that flavor. I do want that balance.
That's a buzzword that I'm just using. I got to understand what it means.
Okay.
All right. I hear it on every cooking show, and I wanted to show off, but I really gotta
Emulsify
understand.
actually means to combine a polar liquid with a non-polar liquid, which
Okay.
would be water with fat. You know, they usually don't go
okay.
together. And there are two
With
ways.
science now, Chef?
There is
Oh, you're
science.
scaring me now.
There's two ways of emulsifying.
All right.
Well, actually, there's several ways, but the two most common ways are with a phospholipid, which is found in egg yolks, and that is one side of the molecule is polar, the other side is non-polar, so it actually mixes those two under agitation.
Miracles of science.
And then there's also polymer emulsification, which is what we're using with mustard. Mustard
Okay.
has very long chains molecules, so that when that mixes in with the oil and water, it helps to hold it as well. It's
Okay,
kinda
so
like
they
adding
don't separate like
exactly. It
you would
adds
see,
like a netting in between the two. Now I'm not looking for this to hold its emulsion really well. I just want it to, as I stir it up, hold it for a little while.
And we're a lot heavier on the oil, it looks like. Is that
Yeah, this is generally vinaigrette is 3-to-1. I like to go a little bit less than 3-to-1. So we're going to add this in. We're going to chop up the basil and thyme here. Most of it anyway. Actually, we'll chop up all of it. We'll have you clean up a little bit more basil.
Okay. Sounds good.
Take the thyme. We're going to chop that as well and put it in our vinaigrette. Have our fresh herbs in here now. And I'm going to cut down my octopus into legs.
Into legs, so you 8 of them, I guess.
Correct.
If my Latin is still as
If
good
your
as it
Latin
used to be,
and
right?
math works correctly,
Yeah.
yes.
Thought math was hard in the first place, but try doing it in Latin.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially with Arabic numbers. I don't know if you're using Roman numerals. I'm using
Sometimes
Arabic.
I am, yeah. It's I like to keep sharp.
All right, now I'm going to take all these octopus legs, put them on a plate, and we're going to marinate them with half of the vinaigrette that we made here.
All right.
Okay. Marinate up this octopus with the same vinaigrette. I'd like for this to sit for about an hour or so. Would be ideal, but it doesn't need to sit like that one. So now that we've had this sit for a little while, and we have everything evenly distributed here, we're going to throw it on a grill.
Okay.
You're really looking for a nice caramelization and almost a little bit of a char on it. Which is what we're getting here, as you can see.
Now I just can't wait for summer. This is like new recipes for my grill. I'm excited here.
It is a little smoky, especially with the vinaigrette on there, so you want to be careful. Make sure you have a good hood.
Well, we're in South Philly. We got a great hood. Fantastic.
Just makes a little noise. All right, so all we have left to do here is build the plate.
Oh man.
Not that this is really going to help the movement on eating octopus, but it is good to know, being that fish are brain food, octopus are extremely intelligent, like ridiculous smart. One of the most intelligent animals on the planet, and even recent scientific studies have shown that it's possible that octopus are alien, which is bananas. I want to put that out there. That's bananas.
All right.